If you have an interest in horses and love learning more about horses, the horse industry, teaching, or even managing your own horse business, then you're in the right place. We would love you to join us on our mission, which is to improve the lives of horses around the world through the education of riders, handlers, and trainers. So get comfortable, listen in, and enjoy.
This has been another episode sponsored by Online Horse College. If you haven't had a look at the wide variety of equine-specific accredited courses, then go to onlinehorsecollege.com and I'll see you over there. Today's guest on Horse Chats is Heather Currie. You've been looking forward to listening to the interview with Heather Currie, who's a dressage rider producing 4 stallions to Grand Prix, but I'll tell you about that a little bit later after I introduce our sponsor. Conversation today at Horse Chats has been brought to you by Equitana. Equitana is now celebrating 20 years of bringing Australian horse lovers everything they love, including equine entertainment, exhibition and competition. So join us on the 15th to the 18th of November in the heart of Melbourne to witness a packed program including the main event, Full Flight, Dressage Freestyle, the All-Star, The Way of the Horse, and an Australian show jumping record attempt which has been held for almost 39 years, as well as the best equine retail therapy with more shops than Melbourne Central. Have a look now at equitana.com.au. While we go back to Heather Currie. Heather's a dressage rider. She's produced 4 stallions to Grand Prix, and Heather believes that all good breeding stallions should also be good riding and competition stallions. This enables the stallions to truly show their trainability and ability to perform under pressure. Heather, how are you?
I'm very well, Glenys. How are you?
Yeah, good. Looking forward to talking to you. Very interested to find out a little bit more about your start, about the horses that you're producing, because I think you've certainly produced some good records there. And like having stallions is hard enough, but having them, keeping them, and you've sort of repeated your performance over and over again by producing them to Grand Prix. So I'm sure that people are going to be able to learn a lot from you here.
Oh, thank you, Glenys.
Heather, can you tell us your favourite quote? Because, you know, sometimes your favourite quote just tells us a little bit more about you as a person, you know, the sorts of things that goes around in your mind almost.
I definitely think my quote is definitely walk, don't talk the talk.
Yep.
I definitely think, you know, being like myself, I'm a doer.
Yes.
I'll get in there and get it done. Whether it comes out with a good result or not, I'll back it up the next day.
Yep.
I'll back the day after, and I'll keep at it and at it and at it. And I think that's dressage, and that's, you know, how to make good horses as well. You've just got to keep showing up.
Yes,
so
yes.
I don't like to, you know, I think a lot of people can talk a lot about things, but they don't actually do those things. So I suppose that's my motto.
Yeah. And I think that's it. I think if you're out there doing it, it's not all going to be perfect. You know, you're going to go out there, you can have good days, you can have bad days, but the good people are not those that never, ever have a bad day. It's those that come back and keep training and keep doing well and just keep at it. They're the people who'll end up making it well. I think if you talk to any of the top riders, you know, they all have had days they'd just rather forget, but you've just got to keep coming back and keep doing it.
Yes. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Heather, just tell us a little bit. Now, I don't necessarily want to know a general idea of how you started with horses, but can you remember a specific time where you learnt a lesson or had a good memory or you know, sometimes you've got to learn lessons that I won't do that again. Can you remember an early time that you'd like to tell us about with horses?
Yeah, I have always been absolutely horse mad, crazy. From the earliest moment I can remember, you know, I drew horses, I had horse murals all over my bedroom.
Yep.
I was just mad for them. I loved them. You know, I got my first horse called Cat Baloo, and Cat Baloo I saved up. She was $100 to buy, and I was very young. I was about 7 years old, and I saved that $100 up. I traded my riding bikes, and I did everything I could to get the $100 to buy Cat Baloo. So I finally bought Cat Baloo, and I rode Cat Baloo so much. I used to ride her bareback. I didn't have a saddle or a bridle. I'd ride her bareback, and I'd quickly never be her back. And I wore a bald patch on her back from riding her so much.
Yep.
But yeah, I love the horses. So,
Okay. Okay. What about, because one thing to be riding, a horse that you bought for $100 to then go on and have a career with horses. Was it always that you were going to have a career? Was that always going to be it? Yep.
From a young age.
Yes. Yeah.
This was always, I found training horses, I enjoyed it. It came naturally. I could get a horse operating nicely on the flat, multiple different horses. And so from actually a very young age, I trained my first horse up and I sold it for a very good price. And then I reinvested the money on a better quality horse. And I did this from a very, very young age. And that's how I built my business. And that is how I ride the quality of horses I do today.
Yes, it gets to be a bit of a shame when you've got to sell a horse that is a good quality because of financial reasons. You've had to do that a couple of times?
I've had to do that to build my business. So I've had some very good horses that I've trained at a good level that I've actually had to take some money for to then build the business. And, I'm lucky I've got good owners now that have bought me some very good horses to ride as well. But I suppose, because it is my job, it is my job. It's how I make a living. It's my income. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I've had to sell horses I certainly didn't want to.
Yep.
I would love to have taken them through all the way and kept them, but I didn't always have that pleasure to do that or that, that's just not the way my business ran.
Yes.
It was hard emotionally because the whole team I have now, I've got myself in a position that I don't have to sell them. Mm-hmm. So I let myself become very emotionally attached to them now.
Yep.
Which is lovely.
Yep. But nice that you're in a position to have the horses in the first place.
Absolutely.
Even if you had to sell them, it was nice to be in the position to be able to have them, to train them, to get them going well.
Yes.
Yep.
No, it's certainly been a journey to get to where I have been, today. And it's, I suppose, in early days, like I said, it was always trying to reinvest the money to buy better quality horses, to make better horses,
Yep. Yep. Now, if someone's going to work for you, you're looking for someone to help you work just with the horses, nothing to do with them being a great rider or training or anything else. What sort of person are you looking for? What sort of core skills or character traits do they need to be to work for you within that horse industry? Yep.
Sure. So 100% what I just said originally, what my quote was, walk the walk, don't talk.
Yep.
So in this industry, it's very physical, it's hard work, and you have to back it up day after day because they're animals.
Yep.
So I've had a lot of young people that have come through and didn't realise just actually how hard it is. It's not a glamorous job. It looks glamorous from the outside sometimes, but it's actually very hard and it's actually very physical, and you have to be very committed. You have to want to do it. You have to love the horses. And I've got, I've had some amazing young people work with me that have gone on to develop into, amazing people, but they showed a very good work ethic at my stable. And I thought this person's going to be successful in life because of what they showed me at my stable.
Yep. Yeah, so even someone just straight out of school or still at school, they can still have that good work ethic.
It's a work ethic, and it's attention to detail in a stable as well. It's like, just not thinking, that's okay, I'll leave it like that. It's the attention to detail that I need and I look for too in my staff.
Yes.
So, because at the end of the day, I run a big stable, so I can't oversee every single thing. So I have to be able to trust that they will do the right thing by me.
Yep. What do you think's the best thing then for working in the horse industry?
Well, I think number one is you're getting to work with horses. You're getting to work with the most beautiful animal, and it's an amazing lifestyle to be able to work with these horses. And the other thing is, I think, the experience. Experience people get from working in a stable, from being the everyday runnings of that, to being involved in it, to seeing behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You can't buy that, you can't pay that, you have to experience that. So,
Okay. You've worked with some really good people who've, influenced you, helped you, taught you, Is there one in particular that you'd like to say that they've helped you, or are you just going to rattle off a whole heap of who's who of names? Because I know you've worked with some very good people.
Yeah, I mean, look, Clemens Dirks was absolutely instrumental in my career and going forward. You know, what I learned from him and what he taught me.
Yes.
He taught me how to produce Grand Prix horses.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
like I could
yes.
pull it out of thin air. So there was a system that took place to be able to do that, which I've been able to, you know, obviously I put my own, you know, sort of, you know, your own feeling to it and things like that as well. But, you know, I think that he's been the main instrumental person, you know, along the way. Definitely I've had help from Roger Fitzharding, who's also been extremely, you know, knowledgeable, and I got a lot out of, you know, going forward. Matthew Dowse is, for me, you know, an elite rider and a leading rider in Australia, has been for many years and will continue to be.
Yep.
So, you know, I suppose I've taken influences from Australia as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I look to who our leaders are here and get the help from who I feel are the best in Australia.
Yep. I think that's a good plan to follow anyway, you know, for anyone who's coming up. And even if they're not going to be a dressage rider, if they're going to be a show jumper, an eventer, or another area within the industry, if they look at the best who's available and go for the best to learn off. Otherwise, it's a bit slow, isn't it? You know, if you're learning for someone who's not the best.
I always say, why would you get help from someone that, number one, hasn't produced riders or horses? Mm-hmm. Number two, hasn't produced horses themselves? Wouldn't you want to go to someone that has shown that they can actually do this and they can do it to a good level?
Yep.
For me, that is what I look for. If someone else may look for something completely different, that is what I look for. So,
okay.
And that is what I feel these people have been able to give me.
Yes.
So,
yes.
With my career going forward.
Okay. Now, thinking of horses, and I know that you've had a few, have you got one that you'd like to say, this is the horse who has influenced me the most, and why?
I think, you know, probably my horse that was just, you know, he gave me his whole heart. He got me on the, you know, National Grand Prix circuit competing. First was Dusseldorf. Mm-hmm. He was a horse I broke in and moved through to Grand Prix. And then the next one was Blitz. I feel like Donna Blitz and I never really got to fulfill his true potential. He had a lot of injuries, but he was certainly a horse that was suddenly, you know, sort of in Australia, he was competitive and he was an up and coming, and, you know, gave me, I was very attached to both of those horses.
Yeah, yeah. So thinking of all the proud moments that you've had, all the achievements that you've had and everything you've won, if you've got a single proudest moment, what would that be?
I think when I first sort of came onto the scene with Don Blitz, and he just won every class he went in at one particular championship interstate in Victoria, and, you know, with over 70%. And he just, I think that was a defining for me. That was sort of like, you know, from Australia, but, you know, we're okay.
Yep.
So you know, so I think, and, you know, I've had, you know, other, you know, amazing, you know, times and moments, but that for me was nearly surreal, really, because I felt like I was this South Australian rider that was always sort of battling uphill a little bit, and, you know, sort of not in the main flow of you know, Sydney and Victoria and, you know, sort of the mainstream dressage.
Yeah. Now, competing stallions, why did you choose a stallion? Why didn't you just go for a gelding or even a mare, who would have been easier? Why did you go for a stallion in the first place?
100%. That's a fantastic question. And the question is because they could earn an income, and it was my business.
Yep.
Going forward, do I choose to ride stallions now? Oh, absolutely not. They are so much harder to ride, because you're dealing with testosterone. So for many years, my whole career, really, I've had to ride stallions, and they're not easy because, you know, there's a lot of other things that can come into the equation because of they're testosterone driven as well. So you really have to have them on your side, and you really need to be able to ride them psychologically as well, because, you know, you can't stand over a stallion. I still ride stallions. The funniest thing, I said, when I get to my age, I don't want to be riding Stallions anymore, yet my team is still predominantly Stallions. So, but I do enjoy my geldings.
Okay.
I do enjoy my geldings now.
Yes.
So,
Yes, because right through, and I'm thinking, even from when you had your first horses and you were training them and selling them at a profit and reinvesting and going back into more, you've had a very much a business mindset that if this is going to be my career, it's not my hobby. I'm going to make enough money to live on so that it can be my career. And the same thing with the Stallions. So
correct.
because money's always going to be a problem. It's you can buy a certain amount. Yep.
Yeah. My main competition horses were
Stallions.
Also making an income at standing at stud.
Yes. So money aside then, what's been your biggest challenge thinking about where you are now, where you've got a stud, you're breeding horses, you're bringing horses on, you've got staff, you're living a life that a lot of people would be dreaming about. But what really is the challenge there?
Yeah, I think that I've had to actually ask myself now that I've actually achieved, I live in the most beautiful property now, and I've ticked off many goals from my life, and that was making a business through horses.
Yep.
And that's not an easy thing to do. And I thought, well, when am I going to be happy? Because look at what I've achieved through horses, and that business and the property and staff and a good team of horses. And I think now what I'd like to do is enjoy my own horses, my own training. Yes, I still have a business, but I like to concentrate more on, just the training of my own individual horses. I love to help other people as well. So, I teach a lot and I help a lot of people from South Australia. And just enjoy it and smell the roses, because I've always had to keep my foot to the pedal, if that makes sense.
Yep. So you're enjoying that now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking then about, and you've got your own staff that you're training, and I'm sure you've got a few select riders, but is there a common theme amongst the riders, and it may not even be with the riders that you've got now because you might have already fixed it, but is there a common theme that you see people riding faults, things that they're doing consistently, things that they could, if they change this, then everything would improve?
I think I'm a big one for the riders that I've had under me, and I've had quite a few, is that they need to use their own instinct and fear as well. Like, I'm not going to stand out, hold their hand and run around the arena with them. And the people, whoever's ridden for me, knows that.
Yep.
So I will give them feedback in the full detail that I'll give them. They need to take that on board straight away, and not. It doesn't need to be an essay. Does that make sense? Like, and you need to catch on to that quickly, because if there's 30 horses in work and they've got 10 and I've got 10 and the other one's got 10, we're all out there working. So the small moment that I look over and say, this, they need to take that and digest the information and go forward with it. And it comes with because that's, I think, someone that I like to see the riders use a little bit of their own natural sort of ability and skill and talent as well.
Okay.
Because we're not in Europe and we don't have someone standing there 24 hours a day watching us and helping us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. To me, it's sort of bringing back the same, it's efficiency. It's efficiency when you've got riders that you're training and you're riding. At the same time, that's being efficient. But if you're giving them a certain amount and you're not standing there holding their hand all the time, that's efficiency, and that's bringing you back to the whole business thought that you've got. That's, a lot of people will say, oh, there's no money in horses, and I don't know, I know there's a lot of people that'll disagree, but I think you've got to go into it with a little bit of a business mindset, not just going in saying, I love horses, they're my hobby, and all of a sudden I'm going to make a fortune out of horses. I don't think that works, but it's the efficiency that you're doing as well. Yep.
Yeah, and it's also recognising, the right, for me, I mean, I've had many people that would love to be a rider. They're not suitable. So it's also me recognising very early on, this person is worth putting some time into.
Yes.
This person is worth putting some effort into to develop. And obviously they go and make their own way in their business, which is wonderful. And that is what I like to see.
Yep. Yep.
And because at the end of the day, that they are a product of Dance on Dressage. So,
Yep.
They've worked under me for many years, and then they've gone on other things. That's fantastic. So,
If you're an equestrian coach or a horse riding instructor, or even if you aspire to be one, have a look at the free video series for horse riding instructors on the Horse Chats website. Go there now. Have a look. horsechats.com. All right. Now, what about books? Do you have time to read books? Have you got one that you could recommend to our listeners to complement their training?
Complement their training? I mean, I think no book in particular that I've read that I'd say you must read this. I mean, I've read it going through the years. I think I think the internet now, you've got that much information. I'd recommend more to be watching and listening to the leaders at the moment. We've got access to all of this at fingertips now, which we never used to have. Yep. So I think it's much as through a book, you could get more out of the internet now by watching and listening.
Yes, and you're saying to the leaders, so I think, again, that goes back to what area of specialisation do you want to be in? Look at who's at the top of their field there, and could be lots of different areas within the horse niche, but go to them, listen to them, watch them. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Heather, what are you looking forward to at the moment? What does your future hold?
Well, I'm currently sitting in my horse truck at the Australian Dressage Championships. My horse, Currie, came runner-up novice Australian champion.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Very happy tonight. I'm looking forward to Equitana in 3 weeks, where I'm riding the master class with Ross Taurus. Also been invited to ride in the Grand Prix there with one of the Spanish Stallions, Istanbul as well. He's only 8 years old and he started at Grand Prix, but he's just a young horse starting at that level. Yes. So I'm really looking for Equitana. And then in December we come back to Victorian Championships, and then it's in 2019. So lots of good shows coming up, and I've got some lovely young horses at home that I need to qualify in between South Australia. There's lots of exciting coming up.
Good. All right. Now, just before we go, can you summarise your philosophy with horses? Just putting it into a message for our listeners. If you were going to just give them a takeaway for them to go away and think about, what would you say?
I think just be committed, work hard.
Yep.
Back it up every day. Look, if you've gone and had a bad competition, look at the positive data, but always look forward for the positive. Don't look at the negative. I always look forward. I look forward on the way forward all the time through it. I never think, oh, that's bad, backwards, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I think that's my philosophy. Just keep going. And the other thing is always remember, you're your own biggest critic. No one really, they're worried about what they're doing. You just need to be worried about what you're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think, just love the horses. Like, I love my horses. Like, I truly do.
Yeah.
I really love them. And I treat them very, very much like a friend, to be honest. And I have the empathy with horses as well. And it's amazing, training with empathy, how much you can get out of the horses. So,
Yes. Okay, and Heather, if people would like to contact you, because you've got some young horses for sale as well, haven't you?
Yes.
So if people would like to contact you, how can they do that? What's the best way?
It's by my mobile phone number, which is available on my website, which is Dance on Dressage, and also my email address, danceondressage1@gmail.com.
Okay, and those details will be on your page at horsechats.com/Heather Currie, or just go to horsechats.com, search for Heather or search for Currie, and you'll come across Heather's page and you'll be able to find her contact details on there. Heather, thanks very much for talking to us. I'm looking forward to you going on, continuing on, doing very well, and hopefully you'll find some time to come back and chat to us again.
I'd love to. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Heather. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Now, if you're still there, you probably know that I'm absolutely passionate about education within the horse industry. That's why I host this podcast. My other venture is Online Horse College. Have a look now at onlinehorsecollege.com and I'll see you over there.
Remember that our comments and instructions are general in nature and do not take into consideration your individual horses or your individual ability and circumstances. If you enjoyed this podcast, then please leave your comment below.